So what is ESG? Well, ESG is standing for environmental, social, and governance practices. And they're a way for a company to evaluate a company's impact on the environment, society, and the way they govern their business. And generally, investors will use ESG indicators or ratings to make their own investment decisions, and likewise, companies will will flaunt their ESG practices in order to attract these investors. And so the first part of ESG, environment, as I circled over here, covers climate stability, natural resources, waste management, and innovation. Now, the big part of environment in modern society is companies will try to be net zero as a means of meeting standards and also getting extra money from the government and regulations in order to abide by things like the Paris Climate Agreement and whatnot. So they try to be net zero. A good example of this would be companies that do something like plant a tree for every X amount of sales they get, or donate to a certain charity, environmental charity, for each amount of emissions. Let's say it's an airplane company, right? They'll do that to, of course, support the climate, support nature. And then when it comes to waste management is very specific. It depends on the company. If the company is something like a car manufacturer, then they need to have good waste management skills, or else they could be under media fire, and that could be bad for investors because companies that go under fire, PR nightmares, they don't get as many customers. And then innovation, which innovation is, I would say it's it's really all of these, social and governance and environment. But I guess your environment also and your innovation depends on the trajectory of the world and what's going on. And so therefore it's under the environment. And innovation is really important because innovation shows companies' potential and the ability to sell something that consumers might find unique and buy more of. So let's now address the S, social. So social can come in many forms. It can be in the way they integrate products into society. It can be the way they manage their employees, although that's kind of governance. It can also be the way they support diversity, or simply just the way they make an impression on society. This has a lot to do with PR. Both of these kind of have a lot to do with PR around this area. And so when we're discussing society, we're discussing impact. Is this a business that actually benefits society, or is it just selling a good that doesn't really benefit society? So a business that would benefit society is maybe they're something to do with medicine, but it's not a bad medical company. They're selling good things, or they could be selling organic food or something. The things like diversity and the value chain, it's the awareness of people and how open a company is to selling to different types of groups, and this can definitely attract investors because investors want to see companies that are able to scale across multiple different types of social backgrounds. And then human capital management just has to do with maybe these companies, they treat their employers right, or they're able to make a good impression on social media pages or whatnot, and so they're able to just have a good reach with their audience, which is good for investors as well if they're good at it. And the last part, governance, is all about the internal corporate structure. So things like transparency, this would be about accounting, the same with anti-bribery and anti-corruption, ensuring that when you're filing your report to the SEC that you report your profits correct, so that investors are more aware of how your company is actually doing and that you're not lying. And the same thing go with corporate governance. It could be how you treat your employees, the way you structure it, CEO, CFO, who are you appointing, what is their background, do they have controversies? And then things like risk management is also very important. Do you own a lot of financial assets, or an investor base, or investments that you need to manage, or if you're about to use investors' money to start a new project, is that project actually going to be successful? Success is an important measurement. And that was an introduction to ESG and why they're important. And this can even be valuable for the investor as well, and as a business, because if you understand ESG, you'll better position your business or position your holdings, and everyone will have a better outcome.